South Jamaica, baby, they made me to be the greatest. Serving the deed of my creators, fresh off of my high haters. It's the king again, Magdalene, chauffeured, bragging and boasting.
Yo, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Dollars. It's another day, another dollar video, and I'm going to be reacting to the real story behind Robert the doll, the most haunted doll in the world. Apparently, this doll was the inspiration for the Chucky movies, so this is definitely going to be a good one. I think I've heard of this story before. I was watching like a compilation video about haunted dolls before, like 2 years ago, and I believe they mentioned this doll, Robert the doll, which it doesn't really look too terrifying, but the story behind it is crazy. And the fact that this was the inspiration for the Chucky movies alone, I mean, that right there should tell you this is crazy. So without further ado, let's hop right into this video. Like a sailor looking type of doll. Like it looks weird, but scary. It's just the story behind.
We all like to think that dolls are
that shit looks scary.
Entertainment. But what happens when those dolls begin to take a life on their own?
Whoa!
Some even going as far as to hurting and placing the curse on the people he or she doesn't like. Throughout time, there have been many accounts of dolls being used as a type of vessel to the other world. A world where nobody is safe. And that includes you and me.
I know that there's this island somewhere.
Join me tonight as
I believe that there's this island, I think near California, where it's basically an island full of dolls that is cursed. Like nobody's supposed to go there. Maybe that'll be the next one I do on a video on that one. But yeah, like I don't know, man. Y'all let me know. Do dolls creep you out?
Bring you the true legend behind
depends what type of doll.
Most haunted dolls. But before we begin, make sure to lock your doors. Check under your bed.
I'm pretty secure, thanks.
Turn off those lights and listen to this tale I bring to you.
Here's how you go from this to that with Adobe Express. You're going to start by uploading your media.
The beginning.
One could say that the legend behind Robert the doll begins as far back as the 1880s, when a woman seamstress named Margaret Stife began to make and sell felt pincushions in the shape of small elephants for some of her clients. Margaret soon began to get word that her pincushions were being used by her customers' children that took a liking to the elephant design. This sparked an idea, and soon she went on to design other animal-themed toys for her customers' children.
She was an entrepreneur.
Soon
I don't
after,
blame her.
She saw the need to recruit the help of her brother, and together they went on to form a small company under their last name.
Started making bread.
Her plush toys were so meticulously made and gained so much popularity that in 1887, her hobby turned into a large company after an American buyer ordered over 3,000 teddy bears during a so-called teddy bear craze that was happening in America after then President Ted Roosevelt.
It's crazy how something so innocent as a teddy bear can have a sinister backstory to it, right?
was being shown in
teddy
a
bears,
cartoon
bruh.
Alongside a young cub. Every household in America wanted to own a teddy bear toy.
Damn.
People from all
Imagine if that Elmo toy would have been out back then.
Company for the 1902 original creation of the teddy bear stuffed animal. That same company can.
For those of you who don't know, some of y'all might be young. I think in the the mid 90s to early 2000s, the Elmo. No, was it the early 2000s? The Elmo toy, bro. That shit was selling like hotcakes. Everybody wanted that Elmo toy. Like it was sold out. People were fighting for it. People were going crazy over the Elmo toy. That's why I brought it up.
And also take credit for unintentionally creating what became to be known as the world's most haunted doll. Although the exact date and year of when Robert was created is mostly left to speculation, it is strongly believed that because of its childlike size, the doll was originally intended to sit in front of a German window display modeling various clown outfits. But, as fate would have it, and the one thing that we do know for sure is that the doll eventually found his way to America and was given as a gift to a child who would become Robert's best and most likely only friend. The child's name was Robert Eugene Otto. There are many people that believe that from the beginning, Gene had an unhealthy relationship with the doll. They became constant companions and he spent many hours playing with the doll, becoming virtually inseparable from one another.
That's kind of creepy to me. Like, maybe a demon attached itself to the doll. It's like, how all of a sudden was this doll able to be evil and haunted, right? So it must have been something. The energy that kid put into the doll probably manifested that thing. I don't know. Or maybe it was like that from the beginning. That's what I really want to know.
Gene went as far as dressing it up in his own clothes and treating the doll as if it was a living being.
That's crazy.
He loved the doll so much that he ended up giving it his very own first name, and thus, Robert the doll was born. The iconic sailor suit that Robert now wears actually belonged to Gene himself, as you can see him wearing in this photo. So it should come to no surprise that as much time as he spent with Robert, the doll learned many secrets that he whispered in his ear. But soon after, the doll began to gather a reputation for being haunted and quickly went from an average toy to what some people began to describe as the most evil living thing.
Worse than Annabelle?
I got a time frame to get this album done.
Kiki takes on too much.
There are many conflicting versions that have to do with the true origins of the doll. Some people believe that this doll was created with the help of dark rituals by an angry servant who made a life-size voodoo doll and gave it to Gene as a type of revenge for being mistreated by the Ottos.
Whoa.
Others believe that the doll inherits the spirit of a baby who was fathered by Gene's father himself through an affair with his servant's wife. One version claims that Gene's father impregnated his servant's wife Minnie. Minnie will soon give birth to a little girl, but after various complications, the child died. Shortly after the passing of the little girl, Minnie used voodoo magic to trap her daughter's spirit inside the doll. The thing about this story though,
Once they mention voodoo, that's already a red flag for me because that stuff is very real and very powerful. So if that's what happened, I'm not knocking it. That shit probably really did happen that way.
is that many people
That can
who
explain
are
a lot.
sensitive to spirits have claimed to feel the spirit of a small mixed race girl living inside the doll.
That eye is creeping
There
me
have
out,
also
bro.
been sightings of a small girl walking around or sitting in the stairs that lead up to the attic where Robert once lived. She is described as being around 5 years old, dressed in a small white gown.
Video's
and
creeping
wearing
me out with this
pigtails.
eye, bro.
Other people who visit the artist's house have ran away in fear after hearing a girl's disembodied laugh coming from the halls whenever they spend the
Ooh,
night.
yo, I'm getting creeped out.
Personal friends of the Ottos and the Ottos themselves have mentioned that Gene was quickly to blame Robert for any mishaps that happened around the house. He would repeatedly claim that Robert was the one who did it, and that Robert would walk around the house moving and breaking things so that Gene would be the one to get in trouble, all the while smiling as he did it. On many occasions when Gene played in the attic, everybody could clearly hear two distinct children's voices coming from the room, but whenever somebody would go upstairs to check and see who else was up there with Gene, they would always find him all alone talking to his doll.
That's creepy. creepy.
On many occasions while the Ottos entertained friends who went over for dinners, many of them were left both confused and in fear after hearing the dolls giggle whenever they walked near it. Some also reported that the doll would suddenly appear in various rooms without anybody's support. And as if this wasn't enough to scare you yet, the doll apparently has the ability to change his facial expressions depending on his mood or if he doesn't like you.
That's crazy.
And he is not afraid to show you.
Can we get some examples? I want some more specifics. Like, that's just all generalization.
As the years went by, Gene grew older and eventually moved away from his parents' house to live in New York. There, he became interested in art and became a popular artist and married a woman he met and fell in love with. All of this while Robert was left abandoned for many years, locked up in a chest in the same attic where he and Robert played many hours.
Could've got rid of that shit.
Unknowingly to both of them, Faith would bring him back together one last time. After Gene's mother passed away, he decided to move back to his childhood home and bring his new bride with him.
That's
Gene
when all the
soon
drama
introduced
starts.
Robert to his wife, but she wasn't fond of the doll, and instead, she had a very uneasy feeling about it.
Listen, the wife should have told the husband to get rid of that. You're a grown ass man. What are you doing with this freaking doll, bro? I wouldn't even give it to my kids, let alone keep it in the house.
Unfortunately, not long after moving back to Key West, Gene was struck with Parkinson's disease,
Wow.
of which he suffered for a long time.
All the bad
His
stuff
wife
started
did go on
happening.
to say, in the months preceding his death and as his health failed, he spent most of his time in the attic room talking to Robert.
Oh shit.
Soon after Gene's funeral, his wife sold the house to a neighbor who bought it for his friend Myrtle. As if Robert disagreed with this arrangement, the neighbor's wife died shortly after of carbon monoxide poisoning from a faulty exhaust system in a car.
So basically, anybody that was around this doll at that time, bad stuff just happened that people couldn't explain. And it probably happened within a short amount of time of them moving there. So it was just like, what's the odds of that, right? It had to have been something with the doll, and people probably started realizing, yeah, this doll, there's something here. It's cursed.
Myrtle became the new owner of what became to be known as the Artist House after Gene's death. But, unbeknownst to her, she also became the new caretaker of Robert.
Holy.
And although the stories of the paranormal activity continued, Myrtle became fond of the doll and also began dressing it up and displaying it in her own home. Eventually, she too sold the Artist House, but this time, she would take Robert with her. This proved to be a big mistake in her part as she soon began to have her own negative experiences and hauntings with this doll.
Wow.
Eventually, she became to be both very afraid and frustrated with Robert that she made the decision to get rid of the doll for good. So she decided to take the doll to the Fort East Martello Museum where he now resides. Myrtle made no runaround about how haunted the doll was, and warned the museum director about the doll's ability to haunt and make people feel sick, possibly even having the ability to kill someone if he didn't like them.
That's wild.
Myrtle died exactly 3 months after donating Robert to the museum.
As soon as she got rid of him, 3 months later, she's done.
Since that very first day, the museum has had their very own strange encounters with Robert. Many of the staff has seen him move and play tricks on him. Some claim to see Robert follow them through the room by either moving his head or just his eyes.
That is crazy.
They've also seen a small 5-year-old.
Yeah, why is these images like making the hairs on the back of my neck stand up, especially with the stuff that he's saying? Like, I got to do some more research on the story. I want to hear those stories of people that work there that actually experienced some crazy stuff, like modern from today.
Girl walk around the museum after closing hours.
Little girl.
As you may have concluded by now, Robert is by no means your typical doll, and whether you believe the stories or not, the museum where he now resides has strict rules you must follow if you decide to take
Rules
a photo
or
of him.
precautions?
One of the main rules, and probably the most important one, is to always ask his permission before taking his photo. If you fail to do this, he will manifest to you in your own home in ways that will frighten or hurt you.
Really?
Many people that have taunted the dog
I mean, I ain't gonna test that theory, but damn. The thing is too, is like, okay, you can ask for permission. What if he doesn't want to give you permission? How would you know? You know, you take a picture and he didn't want you to take a picture. Like even though you asked permission, you still messed up, right? So how does that work?
Have later expressed their regret by sending him letters of apology.
Wow.
A few weeks ago, while visiting the Martello Museum, the staff showed me an infinite amount of apology letters that they have received on a weekly basis.
That is crazy.
And believe me, there is a lot. Many of them are expressing regret for taunting the doll or taking his picture without permission. A lot of them have even felt ill for not following the rules.
I'm just kind of freaked out by even looking at the doll. Like, you know, there's a belief that things could attach to you through movies, certain images, watching certain things. You can open up them portals and them doorways. So I pray for the blood of Jesus Christ to protect me and all those that watch this video as well. So always do your due diligence, because you never know, man. It's better to be on the safe side. You know, a lot of people take these things as jokes and it's all fun and games and stuff like that. But it ain't all fun and games when you start seeing some stuff you don't want to see that's not supposed to be there. So just, you know, say a quick prayer and make sure you're safe.
I've personally spent over an hour completely alone with Robert while visiting him.
Oh, you're bugging.
And I don't know if it was my excitement and nervousness of being in his presence, but most of the footage I thought I was recording while talking to the spirit that inhabits him was somehow deleted and destroyed from my video footage.
Wow.
All but the videos and photos that I presented to you today.
That is crazy.
My personal conclusion is that there is definitely something to this doll. Whether it's Gene's Otto's projective energy living inside of him, or the spirit of Minnie's daughter by means of voodoo magic, I am not certain.
I just heard like a loud thump, bro.
The only thing I do know is that since my visit to Robert, the paranormal activity centered around my Robert the doll has increased. That could have been my own fault. Maybe I should have never asked Robert to come visit the doll if he wanted to.
You're bugging.
So if you're watching this video and hoping to veer away from Robert's wrath, make sure you acknowledge him in the comment section and thank him for allowing us to watch this video and post his photos.
All right, thank you for letting me react to this video, man. All right, I don't need to see no more, bro. These little freaking images have been creepy. I was hoping he would have dove into how the Chucky movies were inspired by this doll. So maybe if this video does well, I'll do another one that actually makes the connection between the Chucky doll being inspired by this, how the Chucky's movie spawned from this doll. There has to be more videos on that. But yeah, if you guys are aware of this, if there's any other type of videos like this, want to request, just let me know in the comments. And I appreciate all the support, likes, and comments on these videos. Your boy, I'm off this.
For my time goes by, they gon' raise a nigga jersey in the sky. Treat a nigga right, big dreaming on my life. Shorty wanna get some air, I go and get up when I fly. Taking off when these niggas are retired. The minute I catch fire, I smoked them all before, just revisiting the high.